Right friends, welcome back to news analysis for 21st week. We are going to deliberate on Chabahar port, and in the lecture part we discussed in detail about Iran in perspective. Not only that, we discussed in detail about the relations between India and Iran during the past 15 years, and in this news analysis we are going to throw some light on the strategic importance of Chabahar port. And if you go back to history, Chabahar port from historical perspective, Chabahar means 4 season of springs. Char means 4 and Bahar means season of spring. This Chabahar is the Persian word. Char means 4 and Bahar means the season of spring, and it is located in Sistan and Baluchistan province in Iran. Iran has got 31 provinces, and this is the coastal province in Iran, and Chabahar is situated in this coastal province. 10th century scholar and historian Al-Biruni identified Chabahar from its earlier name Tees. Then before partition of India, this Chabahar was very close to India because Pakistan and India were together before partition, and India has got more cultural influence on Iran than China. And during 19th and 20th centuries, British as well as Russians analyzed the importance of this region, and both British as well as Russians tried to have strategic influence in this region during 19th and 20th centuries. And of course, after Iranian Revolution of 1979, which made West antagonistic to Iran, that means subsequent to Iranian Revolution of 1979, the terms between Iran and USA and West got deteriorated. Not only that, the fall of United Soviet Socialist Republic in 1991 resulted in the strategic importance of this Chabahar port into the dormant stage. That means the strategic importance of this Chabahar port was into the back burner because of Iranian Revolution of 1979 and USSR disintegration in 1991. Now, after the removal of sanctions subsequent to the civil nuclear deal with Iran by P5+1 recently, now Iran came into prominence, and the significant issue here is 15 heads of state visited Iran in 15 weeks, and Gwadar port is just around 100 kilometers away from this Chabahar port, and these are very close to strategically important Persian Gulf as well as the Strait of Hormuz. Please look into this slide. This is the Gwadar port, and this is the Chabahar port, and this is the Persian Gulf, and this is the Strait of Hormuz, and these are very important if you look at the energy security of the countries as a whole. And now let us look at the chronology of events since 2000. As I have already told you, after the Iranian Revolution and disintegration of USSR, Iran's strategic importance could not be gauged properly for so long. But after the removal of sanctions by the Western countries, now Iran is once again into focus. And if you start the chronology of events since 2000, Indian Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee visited Iran in 2001. And that was the starting point for foundation of a new friendship. Then Iranian President Mohammad Khatami visited India in the year 2003 and was the chief guest during the Republic Day celebrations of 2003. And unfortunately, 2 months later, United States of America declared war on Iraq, and at the same time, the then US President George W. Bush included Iran also in the axis of evil. And in those days, America categorized North Korea, Iraq and Iran on the same platform for abetting and aiding terrorists. And incidentally, The initial proposal was turned down by the finance ministry, citing a poor rate of return. Subsequently, because of the sanctions imposed on Iran by the West due to the clandestine nuclear program, this project was again on the back burner, right? And most important aspect is New Delhi regarded the ties with Iran as purely transactional so long, and strategic port of Chabahar has assumed lot more significance than pure transactional. That means the port of Chabahar has got more strategic importance, and one should not view it just as a trading port. And at the same time, it is also pertinent to mention here, though India maintained reasonably good relations with Iran during the periods of sanction, but somehow this project could not take off because of the reason India failed to gauge the strategic importance, and now India realized the importance after the $46 billion Gwadar-Kashgar China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. This $46 billion CPEC already started. Please look into this slide. This CPEC starts from Gwadar port and goes up to Kashgar city in China, and this port of Chabahar assumed more significance because easily Central Asia and European countries can be accessed through this Chabahar port. And right friends, with this in perspective, let us also look at the tale of landlocked Afghanistan. Please look into this slide. Afghanistan is a landlocked country, and to access ports, so far Afghanistan is dependent on Pakistan. And let us look at the events since 1965. In the year 1965, Afghanistan government signed Afghan Transit Trade Agreement with Pakistan. Subsequently, it got access to Karachi port. Please look into this slide. This is Karachi port, and subsequently it led to large scale smuggling. And subsequently, based on the advice of United States of America, not only that, based on the advice of UNCTAD, Afghanistan-Pakistan Trade Transit Agreement came into force in the year 2011. That means it gave access to Pakistani ports by Afghanistan. And it was expected that APTTA, that is Afghanistan-Pakistan Trade Transit Agreement, would open up road links to Central Asia, but it could not happen. And incidentally, India was also not part of APTTA, and Afghanistan's goods could be brought to the Indian border post, but Indian goods could not be sent through Pakistan to Afghanistan. That is the unfortunate part of APTTA. And now $46 billion China-Pakistan economic corridor is coming, but Afghanistan is not part of this also. And India made around $2 billion investments in Afghanistan's public projects. And please look into this slide. The important projects built by India include the Salma Dam, which is known as the Afghan-India Friendship Dam, which was recently inaugurated by the Prime Minister. Not only that, India built around 215 kilometers of Jaranj-Delaram highway. Please look into this slide. These public projects were constructed by India. But the unfortunate aspect is, without port connectivity, India could not approach Afghanistan. So the need of the hour is to reach the hinterland of Afghanistan through this Chabahar port. Not only that, to reach energy-rich Central Asia from Chabahar port, right? So this is the state of landlocked Afghanistan, and recently 2 agreements were signed, and the details of the agreements I have given here. Incidentally, this Chabahar port is around 950 kilometers from Mundra port in Gujarat, and at the same time it is not far away from Mumbai. Please look into this slide, and if you look at the details of the agreements, a contract for the development and operation for 10 years of 2 terminals and 5 berths. That means India will develop 2 terminals and 5 berths in Chabahar port, and India will operate for 10 years, and India will extend credit line of $500 million for the port, and at the same time India will extend credit line of around $450 million or rupees 3,000 crores for importing steel rails for railway lines connecting port. Then at the same time, Memorandum of Understanding on provision of services by Indian Railways, including financing to the tune of $1.6 billion for Chabahar-Jehedon railway line. Please look into this slide. This is the Chabahar-Jehedon railway line. So, these are the details of the agreements. And you may ask, what is the advantage of this Chabahar port? And I listed the advantages. First and the foremost is, it is basically to counter the influence of China in the Indian Ocean region. Please look into this slide. This is Indian Ocean region, and China is coming up with the string of perils policy. We have discussed several times what is meant by string of perils policy. Development of several ports of strategic importance, that is the string of perils policy of China. And basically this project will counter the influence of China in Indian Ocean region. Second important point is, as I have told you already, it will give easy access not only to Afghanistan but also to Central Asia. Please look into this slide. These countries are Central Asian countries. These 5 countries are called the countries of Central Asia. Central Asia is rich not only in oil reserves but also in natural gas reserves. Then the port of Chabahar is just 950 kilometers from Mundra port in Gujarat, and with the proposed trilateral transport and transit corridor and to be developed international north-south transport corridor, popularly known as INSTC, European countries can easily be accessed. And you may ask, what is INSTC? Please look into this slide. This is International North-South Transport Corridor. At present, traffic to Europe is moving through the route of Red Sea, Suez Canal, Mediterranean. Please look into this slide. The present route is Red Sea, Suez Canal, Mediterranean. And in future, once this international north-south transport corridor is developed, then what will happen? The goods can be reached with 30% cheaper cost to several countries in Europe, and the distance will be reduced by 40%. Please look into the comparison which is given here. So, please observe carefully. The present route is Red Sea, Suez Canal, Mediterranean route to reach European countries, and once this international north-south transport corridor comes up, then the route will become shorter by 40% and 30% cost saving will be there. And please don't forget, this INSTC is supposed to pass through Bandar Abbas port of Iran. But this Bandar Abbas port is not far away from this Chabahar port, right? So, this is going to be highly advantageous, and this Chabahar port will assume much more logistical and strategical importance once this international north-south transport corridor comes up. So, if you look at it from several angles, this will have much more significance than pure transactional value, right? So, this Chabahar port is highly important for India, basically to counter the influence of China in Indian Ocean region. Not only that, it will act as a strategic port for accessing various countries in Central Asia, Russia and European countries. And this will become the shortest route in comparison to the existing route, right? So, let us hope the project for its logical conclusion as early as possible, and India should complete the port infrastructure within the shortest possible time. And at the same time, India should not forget, India should maintain delicate balance between Saudi Arabia bloc. Saudi Arabia bloc is basically Sunni dominated countries, and at the same time Iran is a Shia dominated country, and at the same time Israel. Please don't forget, Israel is India's one of the largest defense partners. So, Israel, Iran, Saudi Arabia, the delicate balance of this axis should be maintained. And this is the biggest opportunity for India. Let us hope India's trade to flourish through this Chabahar to Central Asia as well as Europe. Right friends, with this let us conclude news analysis. Have a nice day. Thank you.